The context of the book of Jeremiah was a nation that was in peril, Israel, in dire peril and danger because of a backslidden people. And God spoke to his prophet Jeremiah in chapter 6, verse 16, "Thus saith the Lord, stand at the crossroads and look and see, and ask for the old paths where the good way is, the godly way, and walk in it, and you'll find rest for your souls." That was God's prophetic word to Jeremiah at such a time as this. And I believe it's God's word to his people today in this hour. Now, what's happened today is the culture is in decline because I believe the church has been in decline. And part of the problem has been the church forsaking the old paths, the old ways of our rich traditions and history as God's people. And as a result, we have not been able to address the decline in our government, our politics, our economics, our educational system, just right down the line. And here's the theme of the series, which I hope you'll check out online. Actually, I hope these spotlight videos will inspire you to count the cost and really listen to all the messages, because I think they're really a word from God for the nation in this hour. But here's the theme of the series: the modern American church, infatuated with what I'm calling new paths, has forsaken the old paths and now finds herself in decline. You know, there's something about our modern society with all of our advancements and all of our technologies that has caused us, if not overtly, consciously, at least subconsciously, to somehow believe that new is always better, that anything new is, because it's new, is automatically better than anything that is old. And this is not a new problem. Actually, a generation ago, the great C.S. Lewis warned about an obsession with newness. Let me quote him. He said, "Chronological snobbery is the uncritical acceptance of the intellectual climate common to our own age, and the assumption that whatever has gone out of date is on that account discredited." Chronological snobbery. You got to hand it to C.S. Lewis. I mean, this is a man who knew how to turn a phrase. It means that based on newness, because you've come up with something new, you have a snobbery that you're better than your forefathers, your ancestors, or your what came before. And it's been quite common all through history, actually, among the younger generation who see themselves as wiser and more enlightened than their elders. Now, this problem has accelerated in modern times with the advent of technology and data surveys and marketing. And we have watched the so-called church growth movement become an industry. Churches are now run like corporations. They have business models. Pastors operate like CEOs. Many megachurch pastors are really more managers than they are pastors. Eugene Peterson, the great pastor and author who actually put together the Message Bible paraphrase, said pastors today are expected to run churches rather than care for souls. They're obsessed with keeping the current customers happy and luring new customers away from their religious shops down the street. Now, if this sounds like marketing competition between churches, well, it sounds that way because really that's what it is. I attended a couple of church growth conferences back in the late 80s where the guest speakers were megachurch pastors who swapped stories about the latest gimmicks they were using to get more people in the pews. Now, friends, I just want to say this because I know there's always going to be some who are going to listen to the voice of the accuser. We're going to say, well, he's just jealous or envious of these larger churches. He's just got a bone to pick. No, actually, I don't. And I want to say this, not all new things are bad. God does do new things. He has new wineskins. So God is not against new things. But when we forsake the old proven godly paths and ways, that's when we have a problem. And all I can say is repeat John Piper, the Lord has made me wary of chronological snobbery. He showed me that newness is no virtue and oldness is no vice. Nothing is inferior for being old, and nothing is valuable for being modern. This has freed me from the tyranny of novelty and opened me up for the wisdom of the ages. God deliver us from the tyranny of novelty. To think that we always have to come up with some new system or new methodology to accomplish some goal of marketing. We need to remember that God has given us his paths, his old paths, the godly way. And we need to return to that. Ask God for the old paths. And I believe it's going to restore the church. And I believe that will mean it will restore the country. I'll have more next time.